Welcome to Align with Ami. Before we begin, let's take a moment to arrive together. If it's comfortable for you, soften your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and take one slow breath in through the nose and an even slower breath out. Nothing to fix, nothing to achieve, just allowing your body to land right where you are. Today we're talking about boundaries, but not in the way that they're often taught. This isn't about walls, rules, or pushing people away. It's about learning how to listen to your energy and honoring it without tying it to your worth or to your availability. For many of us, boundaries feel uncomfortable because of what and how we were perhaps taught them to be at a young age. We learned that being kind meant being available, that being loving meant saying yes, that being committed meant being exhausted. So when we start to say no or even pause, we can feel guilt. We can worry about disappointing others. We can fear being misunderstood. But boundaries aren't rejection. They're information. They simply say, this is what I have capacity for right now. There's an important distinction I want to offer today. Your worth is inherent. It does not change based on how much you give. It does not increase when you overextend, and it does not decrease when you don't offer yourself up. Your energy, however, is finite. It ebbs and flows. It responds to seasons, stress, rest, and life. And when we confuse energy with worth, boundaries sound like, if I say no, they'll think less of me. I should explain myself. I need to make up for this. But when boundaries are about energy, they sound like, this doesn't fit my capacity right now. I trust myself to know what I need. I don't have to earn rest. Your worth doesn't need protection. Your energy does. I want to share something a little more personal here. I've been teaching yoga for over 25 years, and for a long time I did not realize how deeply I was absorbing the energy in the room. I thought that feeling everything meant I was doing my job well. If someone came in anxious, I felt anxious. If someone was grieving, I carried that grief home with me. If the room felt heavy, I blamed myself. I would leave classes exhausted, sometimes emotionally raw, and I didn't understand why. There were days after teaching I would feel empty or overstimulated or strangely sad without clear reason. And instead of questioning the pattern, I questioned myself. I wondered if I wasn't strong enough, if I was too sensitive. Was this the cost of caring so deeply? Was I such an empath? But no one ever taught me that being open didn't have to mean being unprotected. I was unconsciously carrying stress and tension that wasn't mine. And what I eventually realized was that I wasn't just holding space, I was holding everything. Other people's stress, emotions, and nervous systems. And I was doing it quietly without realizing I had a choice. Learning about energetic boundaries felt almost uncomfortable at first. There was a part of me that worried, if I protect myself, will I lose my empathy? Will I be less connected? Will I stop being good at what I do? But the opposite happened. When I began grounding myself before class, feeling my feet on the ground, noticing my breath, noticing my body, when I imagined a soft boundary around me, something shifted. I could still feel the room, but I didn't disappear into it. After class, I learned to consciously release what wasn't mine. To remind myself, I can witness without absorbing. I can care without carrying. And that practice didn't just change my teaching, it changed my relationships, my conversations, my life. Boundaries didn't harden me, they gave me back to myself. And from that place, I could actually show up more fully for myself and for the people around me. Let's gently check in. You might need a boundary if You feel drained after certain conversations. You say yes while your body is quietly saying no. You feel resentment building. You need a long recovery after being with certain people. Or you feel foggy, irritable, or overstimulated. This isn't a failure, it's information. And here is the question to hold with you. Where am I leaking energy out of habit, not intention? Boundaries don't have to be dramatic. They can be quiet and subtle. They might look like shortening a commitment, leaving a conversation earlier, not responding right away, choosing rest without explaining why, letting a relationship breathe. They can sound like, that doesn't work for me right now. I need to check in before committing. I'm choosing rest tonight. Or simply, no, thank you. Clarity is kindness, especially toward yourself. And if you're someone who feels deeply, who senses moods, emotions, shifts in energy, this isn't a flaw, but sensitivity needs support. And boundaries can be that support. There's a pattern I see often, and you might recognize it too. It's the person in a family who is always the reliable one, the listener, the helper, the one everyone turns to. Not because they're asked, but because they've always said yes. Their phone is expected to be on, their time is assumed to be flexible, their emotional presence is taken for granted. Family members call when they're overwhelmed, they vent, they unload, they ask for help at the last minute, and this person shows up again and again, even when their body is tired, even when their own life feels very full. On the surface, it looks like love, and in many ways it is, but underneath there is a quiet cost. They don't always notice it at first. It shows up as fatigue that doesn't lift, irritability that feels confusing, a sense of being needed but not really seen. When they consider setting a boundary, guilt rushes in. They're my family. This is just how it's always been. I should be able to handle it. So they stay quiet. They say yes when they mean maybe. They override their own limits, and slowly love begins to feel like an obligation. What's important to say here is this. No one in the family is necessarily doing anything wrong. They're responding to what's been available. But when boundaries aren't spoken, people don't know where the edges are. The shift begins with small, honest moments. Letting a call go unanswered, saying, I don't have capacity right now, not over-explaining, not apologizing. And at first, it can feel uncomfortable, even scary. But over time, something softens. There's more space, more honesty, more room to show up without resentment. Because boundaries don't break family bonds, they make room for relationships that are sustainable. The science behind energetic boundaries links to neuroscience, showing that they calm the brain by reducing cortisol, the stress hormone, and boosting dopamine and serotonin, as well as strengthening prefrontal cortex function. This leads to better regulation, reduces energetic leaks, and prevents emotional/mental overwhelm by creating a clear self/other distinction. And these cognitive and neurological processes build resilience, making yourself more confident and self-assured. And setting boundaries can feel calming to your stress response system through the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain. When you have boundaries in place, your brain releases dopamine for reward and serotonin for calm, creating a positive feedback loop for self-care. All of these neural pathways make future boundary setting even easier and more accessible, like a well-worn path. Let's try this check-in together. If it feels safe to do so, please close your eyes. Bring to mind one situation where your energy feels stretched. Notice where you feel it in your body. Ask quietly, what do I need here? What would support my nervous system? Now, I want you to visualize. Imagine a soft, permeable boundary around your body in your favorite color. Not rigid, but rather responsive. Let it adjust naturally. End with breath. Inhale, I honor my energy. Exhale, I release obligation. As you move through your week, you might ask yourself, where can I be open without being overextended? And remember, you can be sensitive and protected. You can be loving and boundaried. You can hold space without absorbing everything. Thank you for being here with me. If you would like to further this discussion or deepen your alignment work, please head to my website at alignedwithami.com or on Instagram and YouTube at alignedwithami. Until next time, I will be right here to support your energy, awareness, and alignment.